Good afternoon, and welcome to Man Cave Meditations. Let's dive in. So, as we see the cascading effect of this, as I've said before, this is intensifying. It's like the boulder rolling down the hill. It gains more momentum as it goes. You know? Like the ancient the Norse warrior known as the Berserker. It doesn't just keep the same speed, it accelerates as it becomes more frenzied in battle. So it's intensifying. It's intensifying. And a lot, one of the anyone with eyes to eyes to see and ears to hear would see by this point that it's not just him, it's a big part of it are those who enable him. Right? That's how the whole system works. If you have certain things, it's like that'll stand up and say no. But at this point, this virus has spread to all these parts, and with these, I was thinking about like his chief enablers, those in his circle, direct circle, right? I feel like there are three groups, right? Like A, B, and C. 1, 2, 3 groups. And the first, they call it the A group, right? Like, they're the greatest sycophants. They, if they don't truly in their heart believe the juice, they have just told themselves a lie, that they believe it, or they actually do believe. Like Stephen Miller, he believes it. Cash Patel, he believes it. Christy Noem, she's like a chameleon. She'll just go with, wherever she needs to go. She's going to adjust. But those would be examples of like the A team, right? They're like right there, ready to do whatever. Either because they truly believe it or just, it's crazy town. And then the second group is it's the sleazeball parade, right? Like the barnacles on the back of the whale. They see the whale, they're barnacles, they latch onto the whale, and they just go along for the ride. Bobby Kennedy, Howard Lutnick, Ryan Hassett, or whoever that dork's name with the huge shit-eating grin on his face. Every time I look at him in the camera, as he just completely lies and gaslights the American public. Great. Yeah, those people. Just sleazeball parade. Pete Navarro. Yeah, just sleazeballs. Actually, he might be like between the first and the second. He actually believes his own bullshit. Death by China. We're the fucking the guy who he kept quoting in the book was actually himself. He just made it up, however you call it. He just took letters from his own name and just rearranged them. Joe Nava or something like that. Wacko! And that guy's the author of the our current economic trade tariff policy. Oh, Jesus. Huh. It's like Alice in Wonderland. Like someone whispering in the Mad Queen's, the queen with the bay head, like in her ear. We should go off with his head. Tariffs, yes, those are great. oh, tariffs. And the Queen just declares. You know? It's just like, boundless insanity. Boundless insanity. And as this, you know, the chickens are coming home to roost, or whatever it is, or whatever the saying is, like, this is the bill is coming due for a lot of this nonsense. So far, we haven't seen the bill due, but people are seeing more and more like, these aren't good ideas. What the fuck are we doing here? You know, legislation, you know, passed or like presented by the House to rename the Gulf of, you know, Mexico, the Gulf of America. Are you fucking kidding me? It's a circus. It's the circus. It's the show. But at some point, under his watch, up to this point, reality has just been able to keep moving along, especially that when he was president, barely so. We, you know, made it through COVID. We couldn't remember, in the January 6th, couldn't remember all that when we reelected this fool. But at some point, you know, reality was limping along and kept going, and it kind of recovered during the Biden years, you know. I mean, that's another story. But now it's just, reality is catching up. It's catching up. It's going to catch up big time. It's going to catch up big time. Empty shelves. He keeps these tariffs on because, again, he can't step down. The ego's too big. The ego might be so big at this point from everybody, just the constant ass kissing that goes on around him in his own inner circle. The ego might be so big at this point that he just tells himself, or enough, these Howard Nutlicker, you know, and Navarro, Joe Naro, whatever his name is. They just get his ear they just go along with whatever he's thinking in his fantasy, whatever he wants his fantasy world to be. It's, again, he wants his fantasy world to be X, you know? And all these sycophants, all these whack jobs around him, they just feed into that fantasy land. Because it keeps them in, and it keeps them in his good graces. You know, all this stuff. They don't care. None of these people around him care about the well-being of the American people or the well-being of the country. They don't care. They're sleazeballs, scumbags, all of them. Some might be scumbags of higher intelligence, Stephen Miller, you know. But some of lower intelligence, Bobby Kennedy, Howard Nutlick. But they're dirty. It's like, ugh, you know? That's the guy showing up at you, knocking on your front, you know, at your door in the late 80s, trying to sell you a vacuum cleaner. Dude, thank you so much, but go away. Are you sure, you know, you don't want to have it? Are you sure? Look at this. Oh, look at this. You know, sells you something that, you know, and then he peels out once you, like, give him a check, and then the fucking thing falls apart once you start, you know, using it. You know, used car salesmen, sleazeballs, sleazy game show hosts, potential contestants for the reality TV show The Apprentice. That's who we have in charge now. And I feel they have. I thought they have in their minds, they have break glass options that they think they could use to, I feel this, to thwart, anything getting in their way. If the people start to protest, they feel that they can go ahead and what is it, the Insurrection Act? Is that what it is? Insurrection Act? Where they can just basically turn the whole thing into a police force against the people? I'm ignorant on the historical facts of this, but when it's been used, but I want to say President Grant, U.S. Grant, was started with against the Klan when he took down the Klan in the 1870s. I could be wrong, but that's the recollection points me in that direction. So again, the this like the budget that was just proposed, or like it's on the verge of being passed. I'm not sure what, but it's basically like I saw it, and it was like a budget for we want to make this into a police state. That's what it looked like to me. Like we took this piece of the pie that was everything that's benefits the American people, and they basically shrunk that slice of the pie, which wasn't that big to begin with. And all they did was just not only increase the amount of the whole pie, but they put all of what they shrunk from that pie into the other part of the pie that would, in the case that the police state became active, the military, the FBI, the whole ICE, right? All of it could be used to weaponized against the American people. Yeah. Why are they gutting generals? Why have they been doing this and that? They're just trying to clear the way. Get everyone out of the way. Look at the cabinet. There's no one there that will say no to him. Every time I hear about a potential fight, an awakening within the spine of a Republican senator or a congressman or woman, all of a sudden I hear about a potential fight, and then it's no, because they were threatened to be primaried against. Great. Yeah. We really picked the right people. Yeah? Yeah. Who put their job status above the betterment of the country. That's great. We should think about that next time we go to the polls. We should consider that. Right? That we have a bunch of, career spineless lizards. Not all. Again, not all. But enough. And one of the fears I have, and I'll stop with this, is that you have this one two-party system. One of the parties is going, the way of the German Reich 90 years ago. And the other one is basically kind of like, hey, it's 1995, it's 2015. Let's just sit back. And they're bad. They have this whole swing mentality. It goes from them, it goes from we take power, then they take power, then we take power, then they take power. Well, all that's fucking over. All right? Get your head out of your ass. It's over. It's over. All those politics, all that politics, you have to reinvent yourself now. You have to reinvent yourself. Hey? You have to. Get your head out of your ass. Democratic Party needs to get its head out of its ass. Individually and collectively. It needs to get its head out of its ass. Now. Spoken enough.